This is William Patterson University Television.
Hello and welcome back. The baseball crew is here as we are in the thick of postseason play and only a few games away from the World Series. I'm here with Steven, Josh, Justin, and Chris. Now, fellas, Red Sox and Astros, ALCS, both teams loaded starting pitchers. Steven, we'll start with you. Who has the edge in the pitching?
So we're going to start in game one. We have two Cy Young candidates going against each other. When you look at the stats alone, it's insane. Verlander started off the year great. He started off great. Chris Sale took a little edge when he went on the DL. I know Verlander has a 16-8 record compared to Sale, as we see here, with a 12-4 record. Sale obviously was hurt, didn't have as many innings pitched. And usually Sale, he took a hit from that because he's always the league leader in strikeouts. So Verlander has the edge there, and ERA goes to Sale because obviously he pitched less games. But listen, both of these teams are offensively loaded, as you guys all know. And it's going to come down to scoring early and who can get to the bullpen faster. Because both of these bullpens are pretty atrocious. It's not like the Yankees and Athletics who stacked on bullpen at the deadline. So for me, it's going to be rely on the big players. Two MVP candidates with Mookie Betts and JD Martinez. They got to step up. And Verlander, Gerrit Cole, Charlie Morton, Lance McCullers, and Dallas Keuchel, they're all five aces. They could all be the ace on another team. So it's going to come down to scoring early.
Chris Douglas?
I think it comes down to each team's fourth starter. So Boston, they're obviously not going to start David Price. David Price, well, yeah, they absolutely shouldn't.
Practice live on TV.
He got 5 outs in game 2 before he got chased out of the game.
I hate the bullpen idea, like to have the opener. And
Right.
if there's ever a game, it's when David Price pitches.
Correct.
He was confirmed for game 2, though, David Price.
He should be in game 8.
If he's confirmed for game 2, then Alex Cora is making a mistake. In his 10 postseason starts, his ERA is over 6. He's given up 13 home runs in those games and only 60 innings in his postseason career.
And also his only wins, he has 5 postseason wins out of the bullpen.
Exactly. You need to use him out of the bullpen if you're going to use him at all for a low-pressure situation. I don't want him in any type of situation where Jose Altuve, anybody like that can hurt me. I need him against a good matchup for him. It can't be somebody that can hurt him.
Yeah, it's really coming down to pitching at that point. And really, the first game, I don't understand why they're going to start a lefty against the Astros. Because everyone is predominantly right-handed on both teams. And it's really going to come down to whoever's pitching the matchups at that point.
I totally agree. We're all in agreement with the starting pitching here because whoever makes a mistake, that's it. The game's not going to be over because of the bullpens are atrocious. And if the Red Sox give up an early run or the Astros give it an early run, then that team's probably going to lose, more or less.
No lead is safe in
No,
this series.
I agree. No lead is safe because we saw that the Yankees almost made the comeback in the bottom of the 9th when they were down 4-1. They couldn't finish it off. But who knows what can happen? Baseball playoff is always exciting.
All right, now moving to the NLDS, we got Dodgers, Brewers. Christian Yelich of the Brewers, arguably the NL MVP. Chris Douglas, how important is he to the series against the Dodgers?
He's absolutely the NL MVP. He's probably the most important player for either team. Because Milwaukee's probably an underdog in my opinion, he batted .326 in the regular season, hit 36 bombs, 110 RBIs, scored 118 runs. He was basically Barry Bonds in the second half of the season. You did not want to throw baseballs to this guy. They looked like beach balls to him, and he was just hitting everything in all types of directions. But the Dodgers are more star-studded. This guy is the best player on either team. So his value resonates for the field for everybody. He's going to be the most important player.
I absolutely agree because without him, look at the Brewers. You have an old Lorenzo Cain, a Jonathan Scope who wasn't an all-star this year, Mike Moustakas who's on the back 9 of his career probably. They revolve at first base, so they really don't have an answer there between Aguilar, who does hit moonshots, but even then going into the outfield, Ryan Braun. They couldn't do it with just him, so they really need Yelich to step up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to totally agree with that because I feel like when we have all these players, they're still consistent, they're still hot. I mean, we have Travis Shaw, like we said, Mike Moustakas and all them. They're players who can play under pressure. We've seen it before, Mike Moustakas in the World Series in 2015. Overall, I think that it's going to come down to the hitting on both teams because both the Dodgers and the Brewers have high-powered hitting teams. So it's really now also got to be, is this going to be a high-scoring series or a low-scoring series? The pitching's got to come big in this series, too.
Steven?
How upset do you think the Marlins are that they traded away the NL MVP? I'm all in with you, Chris. Christian Yelich, NL MVP. I'm scared, though. If he has an off game, who can they rely on, like you said, Justin? Like Mike
You could probably rely on like Aguilar and those guys. I
thing
mean,
is, though-
Travis Shaw is not terrible. He's great.
But they're all or nothing hitters.
They're power hitters, exactly.
They're
They
power
either strike
hitters.
out or hit a home run. And you, in the playoffs, you're going against.
I mean, the Yankees were
this-
similar too in that situation where it's either they struck out or they got the long ball.
Yeah, but when you go up against this Dodger pitching, you got to
Yeah, I
be
know.
careful. Christian Yelich, he's going up against Kershaw
I was
game
about to say,
one,
you
a
have to
lefty.
be nervous about
It's going to
Kershaw.
be tough. But I'm not pulling away from the fact he's the most important player on the field for the Brewers. He has to step up or they're going to get swept.
All right,
Absolutely.
Steven, I'm sorry. We have to watch some highlights of the New York Yankees. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if you take a look what they did in Game 4 against the Boston Red Sox at home. It was a tough series. It was a tough series for me if you take a look at their highlights. Was their season a failure, though, guys? Josh, we'll start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even going to take away from it. It was a disaster. We see here, I mean, it was just, I feel like it was a field day for the Red Sox. I mean, it was like they were playing against a minor league team because they had the hitting. I mean, when you look at the Yankees and the contracts that they have and the players they have, Gary Sanchez, Stanton, Judge, these are players that you expect when you look on paper, they're supposed to dominate the American League. And then, of course, don't get me wrong, Mookie Betts and the Red Sox and all the other players they have too are just as dominant. But on paper, the Yankees looked a lot better. So I'm sorry, Steve. This was a disaster for them. This is the year they go and get Stanton. And we were all looking, okay, Yankees World Series. They got Stanton in the National League, God. And then he goes to the American League, gets the most strikeouts too up there.
Well, that comes down from, yes, this was a talented roster, but also management and ownership failed. They brought in Aaron Boone, who's probably one of the worst managers in baseball. And they lost his series because of Aaron Boone's managing ability. He kept CC in too long, and when it started going sideways in Game 3, when they got blown out 16-1, he kept Severino in way too long.
Steven, you're shaking in your boots right now. What's going on?
Listen, I don't see the season as a failure. I'd put it more in the disappointment category. If you look at it, the Yankees, injury rated all season. Aaron Judge out the last quarter of the season, besides 2 games where he came back. Gary Sanchez had the worst his season as a big leaguer. He was hurt most of the year. Didi Gregorius was on and off DL. They lost their 5th starter in Jordan Montgomery, who had high hopes coming into the season. When you don't have starting pitching that first half of the year, that's terrible. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton, I don't know if he's the highest paid player in the MLB, but he's up there. He got hit 38 home runs and over 100 RBIs. He stepped it up big when Aaron Judge was out. And look at their young guys that came up. Andujar, Gleyber Torres.
Right.
This
This
is
is why it was a disaster, because you had those players that stepped up, and even when there came time to the postseason, those players were healthy and they were ready to go, and they could not find a way to beat the Red Sox.
The Red Sox, the best team in the MLB. They go up against the hottest team in the MLB against the Athletics,
no
and they
excuses in the
embarrass
postseason.
them. They embarrass the Athletics, who I know me and you were talking. I know you were going for the Athletics.
I was.
They swept them off with the floor.
All right, fellas. Only time will tell how the Yankees tune up. That's all for this episode of WP Sports Desk. Thank you to our analysts, crew, and studio manager, Al Clark. From Studio B in Hobart Hall, I'm Dante Vocaturo. We'll see you next time.